Hi there Booktube, it's Eleanor here and today it's time for my weekly wrap up. I'm going to do a wrap up of the books I read this week, but I'm also going to talk about a couple of books that were missed off my last week because I read them before the Booktubeathon. So I will briefly mention a couple of books that I read before the Booktubeathon and then the books after the Booktubeathon because I've already talked about the books I read during the Booktubeathon in my Booktubeathon wrap up. I hope that makes sense. I'm also going to show you the books that I'm buddy reading next week and a couple of books that I want to try and get to as well. And before all of that, I'm going to tell you my Booktuber shout out. My shout out today is for two girls whose channel has just been brilliant. I love them. I love their recommendations. I love their choice of books. They're really, really great to watch. I love everything about their channel, and in fact, I love it so much that tomorrow myself and Sam from Colty and Crumbs are going to be going to check out one of the places they went to on one of their vlogs. They went to a bookshop near them and me and Sam are meeting there to go book shopping tomorrow, so I'm very excited. So thank you to them for that. And their channel is called Two Paper Girls and they are Amy and Laura, and I absolutely love their channel, so you should definitely go and check them out. I will leave all the links down below as usual, and I hope some of you want to go and check them out because I don't think you'll be disappointed. And yeah, go and check them out, they're great. So now on to the books that I read before Booktubeathon. The first is Between the Lines by Tamara Webber, and I gave this book 4 stars. I like Tamara Webber's books. I think it's Tamara or Tamara. I apologise, I'm not 100% sure. I like her books. I read Easy, which I really enjoyed, and so I went on to read this. This is the start of a series. It's about Reed. He's a Hollywood star, and Emma, who is just landed her first role in a big Hollywood film, set to be her big break. It's about them and a relationship that forms, and it's about what it might be like in the industry. It's a new adult romance. We follow it from the start of filming and we learn more about their co-stars and their co-stars' relationships. Yes, there's a love triangle, but I quite liked this love triangle. Unfortunately, the only thing about it that I didn't really like is I didn't really feel any heat or like sexual tension amongst any of the parties at all. So I wish there had been a bit more steaminess, a bit more heat amongst them. That would have got me going a bit more in terms of enjoyment. But I really did enjoy it, and I loved the really strong female friendship in this. That's something that sometimes I feel is lacking or perhaps not covered as well or written as well, and I really loved the strong female friendship within this. So I can definitely recommend this book. Not my favourite new adult romance, but a really good one, and I'm looking forward to reading the next in the series when I can get my hands on it. Next, I read a graphic novel called Blue is the Warmest Colour by Julie Marat, and this I gave a 4 stars as well. I heard about this on various channels, but most recently on Lena from Kiss My Frog's channel, and she gave it the big thumbs up, so I picked it up from my local library and I wasn't disappointed. This is a short, bittersweet love story of a young woman's discovery and look into her sexuality, and it's full of just a really beautiful love story. Clementine's a high school junior and Emma is an art student. They meet and form a relationship, and this is very new for Clementine, and we follow this relationship, this lesbian relationship between the two. I wanted more in the middle of this book. I wanted more of their relationship and I didn't feel like I got it, and that is why I couldn't give it more, but everything else was just brilliant. I liked the use of colour, that it was told in a sort of journal way, and that we had flash forwards and flashbacks. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, I just wish there'd been a bit more, like I say, of the relationship in the middle, but it's a really good story and well worth a read. Next, I read The Grace Keepers by Kirsty Logan, and I loved this as well and gave it 4 stars. This book I'd heard a lot about, and I went in with a little bit of trepidation, but I shouldn't have been worried. The hype was well worth it. It's a story where we have people that live on land and people that live in the sea, and land is sort of, the landowners consider themselves sort of higher up than the people that live in the sea, and we follow a circus, and we follow multiple points of view in this story, but all following a similar cast of characters, and ultimately it is the story of two people told in multiple points of view. Those two people are North and Calendish. North is a bear dancer, or North is a member of the circus. She's a young girl and she dances with a bear and she trains the bear. And Calendish is a gracekeeper, someone that helps put the dead to rest. And we follow their story and how they intertwine. It's very dreamlike prose. I really loved this story, and I definitely recommend that more people pick it up. Next, I picked up The Rush by M.E. Walker. This is the second book in the Facerin trilogy, the first being The Finding, which I read a while ago, and I was very kindly sent this, so full disclosure, by the author, because I enjoyed the first one so much, so thank you so much to her for this, and I really enjoyed this as well, and I gave it 4 stars. In my opinion, this is a really well thought out fantasy story. I love the world in it, and I really like the quest element. We're following a girl, I'll tell you the synopsis of the first rather than spoiling everything and telling you the second, but we're following a girl who's lived in the human world. She doesn't know this parallel world exists. She's been taken there when she was younger, and she finds out that she's from this world, that she's the sort of heir to the throne, that they need her because someone bad's taken over the throne and her parents have been killed, but before she can sort of try and gain the throne, she needs to complete a quest to collect all the pieces of a gem that help her to have all of her full magic. And so we follow her quest in these tasks to gain pieces of her gem, and I can't wait to read the third one. So I definitely recommend picking this up. And M.E. Walker, as I said when I reviewed the first in the series, has her own booktube channel, so you should definitely check her out. It's called M.E. Walker, and I'll link it below. The next books I read were all for Booktubeathon, so I won't talk about those because they're in my Booktubeathon wrap-up. So now I'm going to go to the books that I read after the Booktubeathon. I apologise for the change in these videos, but my memory card on my other camera is full, so I'm now on my iPad, so it might look a bit different, and I'm hoping this will work. But the next book I read after Booktubeathon was Angel Fall by Susan E. This was my book buddy recommendation, my Booktuber recommendation for the month, and it was recommended by Sam from Cold Tea and Crumbs. I really enjoyed this. I gave it 4 stars. It was an easy read. I liked the different sort of angel aspect. It wasn't what I expected. The angels weren't the good, lovely, sweet people that we had them out to be. They were more like the devil, and I liked the dynamics. I liked the story, and I look forward to trying the rest of the books in this series. We follow Penryn and her mother, who has some type of mental psychotic illness, but we're not sure what. And we also follow her sister, who is a 7-year-old and is wheelchair bound. At quite near the very beginning, I think in the first chapter of the story, her sister is kidnapped by the angels, and Penryn has to team up with a damaged angel who she's rescued in order to try and find where her sister is and to try and rescue her. There's lots more to it. There's politics, there's friendship, there's angels and humans and humanity and dystopia, and it was a really good story, so thank you to Sam for recommending this for me. The next book I read, unfortunately, has already gone back to the library, so I can't show you a picture here, but it was called Explorer, edited by Kazu Kibushi. This is a collection of short graphic stories about all containing boxes that are mysterious in some way. I enjoyed it. I just didn't think it was my favourite graphic novel or collection of stories, so I gave it 3 stars, but it was worth a read and it was from my library, so it didn't matter that it wasn't the best book ever. Next, I picked up one of my favourite graphic novels of this year so far, and that is Lazarus Volume 1. Unfortunately, it's also gone back to the library. I heard about this on Caitlin Kitty G's channel, and I just had to pick it up. It's set in a dystopian world where there are families. There's a number of families that look after different parts of the country, I suppose, or maybe the world, but I think country or this sort of area, maybe in America. and they're like almost like mafia families, and they look after the people in their sections, and there's not much food and water. Each family has a Lazarus, which is like a protector assassin who does all of their dirty deeds and keeps the family safe, and these Lazarus are chosen from the family and are genetically enhanced, so they have better capabilities of shooting and better reflexes, and all sorts of different things are put inside them to help them be better and stronger and to protect their family. There's family politics, there's kick butt action, there's romance, there's all sorts of different things, and I'm really enjoying this, and I've already reserved the second one from my library, so I can't wait to read more of this. So thank you so much to Caitlin for recommending this on her channel. Just goes to show it's worth recommending the books that you read, because I found one that I absolutely adored and I can't wait to continue with. Next up was a buddy read with my friend Michelle, who I've been buddy reading with for a few months now, and that was Ashes by Ilse J. Bick. This was a really good story. I felt it was reminiscent of The Walking Dead in a way. We follow a girl, Alex. She is set off on a hiking trip. She has an inoperable tumour in her brain. She knows she's going to die. She doesn't know when. She's going camping. We're not sure if she's trying to decide whether to end her life or what. She's just gone to think. She lost her parents years before, and she's lived with her aunt, and she's gone off into the wilderness to try and sort of get her thoughts together. While she's there, some type of electrical pulse happens, something strange, and it affects people in different ways. People either die, people become zombie-like creatures that eat human flesh, or people in some small faction, some people gain special abilities. And through this we follow Alex, and she meets a girl called Ellie and a man called Tom, and it's about their journey and what happens. I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed the dynamics of the story. As I say, it felt a little bit reminiscent of The Walking Dead. It didn't feel entirely original, which was a bit of a problem for me in terms of giving it more than 4 stars. And so I ended up giving it 3 stars, and I'm not sure I'm going to continue with the series. I did like it, but I don't think enough to carry on, considering how many other books I've got to read. But it was nice to buddy read it with Michelle, and I think she enjoyed it a lot more than I did, which is great. And yeah, so this was Ashes. The final book that I completed was The Duff by Cody Keplinger. I pre-ordered the film on iTunes, which was released a couple of days ago, and so I wanted to read the book before I watched the film, and boy was I surprised. I've heard mixed things about this, and I wasn't expecting much. Perhaps it was just the right time, right place, right read for me, but I cried. And I just found it a really good YA contemporary book. I really enjoyed it. I have to say, having watched the film, I enjoyed the book more. The book is very different to the film, and I think covers a lot more interesting topics. The film's been changed quite radically in places, and although I found the film a really great sort of teen watch, really easy, fun watch, reminiscent a little bit of She's All That, if you were older and old like me and you remember that. But the book was very different in many ways, and I really enjoyed it. It covers topics like alcoholism and pressures of being a teenager, and image, absentee parenting, and social school hierarchy. It was a predictable read. Don't go into this thinking it's going to be twisty turny and you're going to be surprised at every turn. It was predictable. We knew what was going to happen. We knew the outcome, but I didn't care, and I loved it. And because it made me cry, I gave it 5 stars. So this was a 5-star read this week from me. The book I'm currently reading looks set to be a 5-star read as well, and that is The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. I was lucky enough to be sent this by Hodder and Stoughton via Bookbridger, so thank you very much to them for this. And oh my god, I may have found my new Rachel back fortune porn paradox trilogy. I absolutely, I'm loving this so far. It's about a crew on a ship with loads of different species who are tunnelers, and I absolutely loving it so far. So watch out for my wrap up of this next week. So I'm aware that I've talked way too much and this is going to be a humongous Friday video. So let me show you quickly the books that I'm planning on reading next week. The first book I'm starting tomorrow is a mass buddy read via Voxer with a lot of other booktubers and that's For the Bone Clocks by David Mitchell. I'm going to be reading Soulless by Gail Carriger with Tanya from List Obsessed Reader. This is a reread for me, but it was a long time ago and I'm continuing with the rest of the series next month, so I want to read this one again first. I haven't heard from my lovely subscribers that wanted to buddy read this book, but I'm going to try and get to it next week, so if you do still fancy it, those people, let me know and we'll sort it out. And that's Dark Eden by Chris Beckett. My Real Life Waterstones book club meets next week, so I want to get to The Paying Guest by Sarah Waters because that's our pick for this month. And then two books, if I have any time, that I want to try and read are Storm Dancer by Jay Kristoff, because I've picked up the second in the series from the library, so I want to get the first one done. And a non-fiction book, which is The Art of Asking by Amanda Palmer, because I've just been hearing fantastic things about this and I feel like I want to read it soon, so I'm putting that on my next week's TBR list. So that's all the books I've read over the last couple of weeks, and that's all the books I want to read next week, and that's the phenomenal Two Paper Girls booktube channel, which you should all check out. And that's it for this week. Bye-bye. So that's it for this week. Let me know what you've been reading and what you've been enjoying, and if you've read any 5-star books recently, I'd love to hear about them down below. Okay, I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now, Booktube.